All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making up plays. We're talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
And welcome to the latest episode of Real Talk here on ASAP Network. We have Dev with us and Coach Kenny with us. Fellas, how y'all feeling?
Good, man. Good weekend.
Feeling pretty good, man.
Love to
A lot
hear
of hoops, so it was a good time.
you was playing?
No. I was just watching all the summer league games.
Yeah.
I
I don't know if they got more teams or whatever, but it's on all day.
Yeah, they play every day.
So I definitely am appreciating that for sure.
Yeah, they playing for rings now.
Yeah,
I was shocked.
No comment. Yeah, no comment on that.
What's wrong with them having rings?
Come on, bro.
Come on, man.
Yeah, we're not giving out no rings.
So come, that's yeah. You got dudes. You can put it like this. Now, what if Jordan Poole and them were playing the summer league, fresh off of just winning a championship ring? You think he's gonna really take that summer league ring serious?
It's not for those players.
But I don't even think
it's for the guy that may never make a team, and that's something he can have as a collectible.
Gonna be rocking that ring.
That is like a participation trophy, man.
Yeah,
it's not. You played in a league with some of the best young talent of that era.
That's 10 days. That ain't even no. You playing like 15 games. Come on, man.
Y'all just old.
Nobody's winning that ring, man. Nobody.
You wouldn't wear that ring?
No way.
Man, you go back home. They would love that ring. You show off the kids your ring. I was in the summer league with Chet and Paolo, and my team beat them, and we won the ring. That's a claim to fame. What you mean?
So what if he only makes the G League though? You know what I mean?
That was my moment.
You put that in the jewelry case. You're not wearing that.
You know how many people still living off of high school moments? That's a moment.
I remember those high school days, but exactly. I let those days go, man.
Look, I got a state championship. I got a state championship jacket in my closet. It's not, but then that's exactly where it stays. Matter of fact, I got.
You gonna wear it right now?
I probably couldn't fit it even if I wanted to. It's so old. But no, I was gonna say we won this state championship for the school that I coach at. We had this conference tournament that we won a state championship ring for. That ring is sitting in the box. I will never wear that ring.
You ain't wear it one time in high school?
Not once.
That's terrible.
It's
for the kids. It ain't about me. That's for the kids. They can rock it. I'm not wearing that ring.
Man.
Maybe only time now, to be honest, only time I wear it is if I got an interview like for a job, then I would wear it for that. But other than that, no.
So then,
I'm talking
special occasion.
Coaching job. I'm saying if I'm interviewing for a coaching job, then I would.
Coaching job. I thought you was going to a regular interview. Tumbo, check my high school. you slap your hand on the desk and everything.
Hey, how you doing? Man. I'm shaking hands, leading with the right.
I'm gonna kiss the ring.
Yeah. Watch out for the ring.
Chris, you jumped on a little after we got started. So how you feeling, man?
Oh, I'm wonderful. I was just playing basketball the other day. I felt like I was in my prime.
Okay. Aren't you like in your early 20s?
Yeah.
I'm 21. I'm still young. I got the young
to be young.
Like you're in your prime. You're definitely in the prime. You might not even be.
I already say, Chris, how old are you, man?
21.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I'm begging to be 21 all over again when I be out there hooping. Boy, the day after, I'll be like, God, I should have played them 6 games, boy.
Yeah, man. It's different.
Man, I'm tight. Y'all, that was about to, I got the game going in the background while, while we're talking, and this OKC Orlando game, I was looking forward to it because Chet and Paolo, I thought they was going to go at it, but Paolo's not playing.
He's not playing.
Paolo not playing?
No.
I rushed to put it on too.
I was looking forward to them to go at it.
Man, he got load management and that's why they giving them rings. That's why they giving them rings. They doing load management in the summer league. Golly. Did he sign his contract yet?
Dang.
To be fair, they do play every day. So like they do play like 10 days straight. So I could see guys.
But this going for that ring though, Kenny.
The ring. That's funny. I heard you talk about that. The ring thing that's funny. But like, why don't you take? I'd rather him take a break against the Kings. Like, I was excited to see, even though that was Keegan Murray's probably been the best Summer League player.
That was
I was excited to see him. He already did his thing against the number 2 pick. He did his
100, thing. Anthony 100.
We're excited to see him in Chet.
Yeah, so I agree. It's a little disappointing when I heard that reported earlier, but
we're gonna see if Chet can be that guy now. Since number 1 ain't there, let's see if number 2 can do it.
All right, but we do want to get into some of the NBA news as well. A big fish and a guy are still available here in free agency. And for whatever reason, they just sitting.
There you go.
Starting already, boy. You just couldn't wait.
I think the shelf life is starting to expire almost. I don't know, but we still don't have that James Harden deal, even though it's been seemingly put to bed that it's a non-issue. And DeAndre Ayton is just flapping in the wind. So kind of with where we are you guys surprised it's kind of taken this long for both of them to get deals? And kind of what do you guys think is driving it? I'll start with you, Chris, since there's a Philly player involved.
I'm not worried at all with this Harden deal. I think it's going to get done sooner rather than later. I feel like if it was an issue, you want to see him with the Sixers players. You want to see him with Embiid. You want to see him working out with Sam Cassell in the summer. Listen, James Harden is Daryl Morey's guy. And Daryl Morey, listen, if he has to trade away everybody just to make sure he's happy, he'll do that. So I think going into the offseason, it was an understanding how things would work out. And so I think that contract is going to get done again sooner rather than later. And the guy who's calling just a guy, he'd be the best center on your big man on your team. DeAndre Ayton. I feel like his contract's coming soon. Again, I just had to. I'm going to say that every time, but
got the extended clip today.
I honestly think his contract's coming soon. He's going to go to either the Pacers or the Pistons, to a young team. I see that Pacers team in the rebuilding. They have no big man. I like Miles Turner, but I think they need to go ahead, trade him, get the assets, because he's one of the most highly sought out big men in the game, because he could defend and he can stretch the floor. So just go ahead, make that trade, send him to the Suns. Go ahead, bring in DeAndre Ayton, and I think that's what's going on. Move forward. Is it crazy that it took this long? I don't think so. I know you do. I think you say that he's trash because every single day goes by he doesn't sign.
I never said he was trash. Don't do that.
I mean, listen.
Said he's overrated.
He
might as well. The way you talk in our group chat, you basically call him trash.
That's because y'all saying he's a max guy. So I gotta grade him by player standards.
What is max player standards in today's NBA with all this money? I see
just saw a bunch of max players get money.
I see people getting 50 million. I see people getting 30 plus million that don't deserve it. If we going by just because you're getting paid that, your guy Bradley Beal deserves 50 million.
Yes.
Okay, you may think that he hasn't won anything. Tobias Harris, he got maxed out when he was with the Sixers. Nothing. Those just two players. It's a lot of players.
Well, his deal don't look nearly as bad now.
Who?
Tobias Harris.
It's still the worst. It might be the worst thing ever signed on a piece of paper in life.
No,
that was one of the worst deals.
Oh man,
that deal cost me a championship, and I'm going to say it. That deal was trash. His deal was trash. Al Horford's deal was trash. Re-signing Brett Brown as a coach his whole contract was trash. So, we talk about bad deals. It happens in the NBA. You're going to overpay for a player if you really want him. The Suns look like they don't want him, so I hope he moves on. Go to the East.
We did believe all dang.
Yeah, like that was Timothy Mozgov, like crazy contracts. It's only a handful of people in the NBA that you could say deserve their money if we're going by max plus your potential or your status in the league standard.
Okay. Kenny?
Yeah, I think it's just this is just the business side of this. That's what's dragging us out. Are you starting to see reports? I've seen 2 reports that are saying that a max deal with the Pacers is pretty much a foregone conclusion for Ayton. So, and like we were saying the other day, and even in the chat, man, to me, like if guys like Nurkic are getting money, getting the type of money that they're getting, and then there's no way that DeAndre Ayton is not a max player if those guys are getting that type of money. So, you know, the bottom line is you don't have it's only so many good centers in the league, and that's a position that's really kind of gone down in today's NBA because we really don't see the back to the basket. He's like one of the last of the dying breed in terms of guys that's able to score with their back to the basket because everything is space the floor and
He
kick.
hit that 15-footer too
Yeah,
with the best of them.
Yeah,
With
he
the
can
best
score on
of
the
them.
post. He can face up. He can shoot it. He's got the turnaround that he can hit in the post as well. So he's got some stuff that I just don't think we've seen the best version of DeAndre Ayton. To be honest with you, so I think if he does get an opportunity with a young team, to Chris's point, I think we can really see him put up some bigger numbers, I should say. He's already putting up good numbers, but I really think that we can see him putting up big numbers if he's in the right situation. So, and also I agree with Chris today. I'm not worried about James Harden at all because there's no way that you make that trade if you're not going to re-sign James Harden. But the one thing I will say, the fact that he's only signing a 2-year deal with a player option, that might be a little concerning because if you think about, what you gave
I have
up
a theory on that.
Okay. So I'll be curious to hear that. But I just think it. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was watching the game.
I was just saying, yeah, that with that, because you traded Ben Simmons, who's locked up for the next, I think, 3 or 4 years, and of course is younger. So if you make that deal and then you turn around and only have a James Harden for 2 years, if that's how it plays out, then you might have questions about that deal. But also at the same time too, I kind of like it on the other hand because we've kind of seen James Harden since he's gotten his money. We've seen him not maybe be in the best of shape. We've seen him not be as playing at an optimal level. Maybe he got a little comfortable. So maybe now that you're putting that that kind of pressure on him, so to speak, by being on a 1-year deal, and I'm sure he wants one last payday before he gets, before he retires. So this kind of puts the onus on him, and we've seen the videos in terms of him working out. We see the video with him and Sam Cassell. You can see, and it looks like he's slimmed down. So it looks like he's really, focused on really coming in and being in tip-top shape. So, maybe this is a good thing to kind of make, put that fire in him to make sure that he's playing at his optimum level. So, those are my thoughts on those two guys. I'm not worried about it. I just think it's the business playing itself out.
Okay. Chris, did you want to respond?
With that, depending on how it goes, one, I think they're trying to look to get Tobias Harris off the books. And so Tobias Harris' contract is up in 2024. So if he signs that 2-on-1, by the time, hopefully we don't listen, Tobias, you're a good player, but you weren't worth the money. So when that money frees up, that's more money for James Harden. Or he could just say, listen, I'm going to take a chance on myself. I'm going to take this team-friendly deal. I'm going to ball out this season. We're going to do what we want to do in the playoffs. And after that, I'm going to be deserving of these big contracts that everybody's doing. So either way, I think it's going to work out in his favor and my Sixers' favor. I don't think he's just going to, take his money and just, kind of just leave it out. Now, this guy's been showing, for the past couple of years that he cares about winning, even though it hasn't always went, to his way. I think the past couple of years he shows that he's willing to adapt his game. Now he's shown he's willing to take a pay cut for the team's success. So I think, all in all, he take a 2-year deal. More money opens up for the Sixers. He'll get his big payday. Probably the last big payday of his career, but he's going to try to earn it.
Okay. Dev.
Like we was talking about the last episode, I'm not really shocked because KD is kind of holding up the free agency anyway. You know, what I mean, even though I don't think Philly is even in the market of thinking about KD, anything in that nature, but
Let me tell you.
you never know. You would just never know. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure they weighing their options on that on the back and like what Kenny said, um it's a rumor that he already, took a little 15 mil pay cut anyway to sign like a 2-year deal. So all you gotta wait for is just see if James Harden really fully committed in. And as we keep saying and we seeing, with that workout with him, Sam Cassell and Maxi, it looks like James Harden is going to gamble on himself, like Chris said at the end. I'm gonna play team ball now to see where it goes at, but at the end, I know I'm still a star in this league. I could probably still can be a strong two. I don't think James Harden is a strong one anymore. But a strong two, a role for him would be, excellent. Wherever if you do decide to leave Philly. Far as your boy Aiden Ray, that's your boy. I don't care what nobody say until you get on this bandwagon. That's your man. But no, he just got to be in the right team set. And I think the way the Pacers is trying to build their team, no disrespect to Miles Turner, I think his time is up with that team. He's inconsistent with health, number one. And then Miles Turner, like Chris said, you might as well try to take what you can get now from him now instead of trying to hold and wait to see what you can get from him later. But right place, right play, time for Aiden because I don't think Monty Williams' system after a while wasn't featuring him right. It was more of a try to have him in a pick and pop or just have him standing on the island versus him going back to the basket or pick and roll where he's more strong or like I said, the 15-footer where he's suited at. I don't think Monty Williams was able to put that in enough for him. I think it was just more all Devin Booker and Chris Paul to try to figure it out. And it left Aiden on the island where he's not a 3-point shooter or he can't step really out beyond that 15 foot range. So
Yeah, he probably only extended about
it's
20
going to
feet.
kind of dip for him, or it's going to have people like Ray be looking like, oh man, he's not that max player as we think he is. You know what I mean? So I think, like Kenny said, right place, right time, and the Pacers might be that with an up and coming team, it might be a spot for him. And with JaVale McGee and Nurkic, guys that's been hurt and had a backup role can get deals. Why come Aiton, who's been healthy the last couple of years, more healthy than Nurkic and McGee together? Why he can't get a big deal?
And the other thing too, real quick, right before you go, I think that if they do wind up doing that signing trade with Miles Turner, I think it could be a win-win for both teams because I think Miles Turner might be a better fit with Phoenix because he can step out and shoot the three ball and space the floor. So I think that might be a better fit, and he's a little more athletic and be able to be that lob threat that CP3 likes to use in his pick and roll action. So I think it might be a win-win for both sides if that's what winds up happening.
No, I definitely agree with that. Which is why it's interesting to me when you guys were trying to act as if Miles Turner is this significantly worse player, and I'm like, but the parameters of a deal likely would be them being traded straight up. And I think that's an indictment on where Ayton is at this point in his career. The skill set is there. I just don't think he has the drive and desire. And in that indie offense, like they get up and down. So he better come into camp well conditioned in the event that they make that deal. That team gets it and goes now. And I don't know if they brought Lance back or not, but either way, it's an up tempo type offense. And typically, big men aren't featured much in those offenses. So we'll see kind of what comes of it. I do want the man to get his money. The more black money, the better. But
I can't believe that words came out of his mouth, guys.
I know I was
He wants
surprised to
the
hear
man
that.
to get his
I
money.
want him to get it. I wouldn't give it to him, but
Not the way you be
There it is.
talking.
There it is.
So you wait. I
Make
know
sure
I
we
don't
ask
think
that
anybody
part.
thinks that DeAndre Ayton is like 1,000 times better than Miles Turner, but if Miles Turner is a better fit to most people teams simply because he shoots the three ball. We talking about a guy that is never healthy. So if you ask me who I would take right now, regardless of fit to the team, taking DeAndre Ayton because I feel like he can adapt. And I feel like the Pacers, if they bring him in, they're going to change their offense around a little bit because it's not like they're a playoff team trying to win something. So I feel like they're going to cater to him because he's going to come in there and be tied for the first or second best player on that team. So he's going to get his 15 to 16 shots a game. But I do think it's a win-win only if Chris Paul can, trying to keep this level of Chris Paulness up because if he comes back old, they better hope that one of these young forwards take a next step or they're going to look for some scoring. And Devin Booker either going to average 30 plus or the Suns going to be in that playing seed.
Oh wow, you see him taking that much of a dip?
They keep saying that. They keep saying they're gonna just fall off a cliff, and I don't
think fall off a cliff. I don't think fall off a cliff. I just think with the West, like how tough it is in the West, you can either be the second or third seed, or the sixth or seventh. Especially how I would think the West is going to be next year with all these teams from the Mavericks to the Nuggets to the Lakers coming back to the Clippers coming back to the Blazers trying to be in the mix. So if Zion comes healthy, not saying that all these teams are going to be a first, second, third seed, but it's going to be so tough in the battle where playing seed now is the seventh, eighth seed. Seventh seed, you say, "Oh, I'm locked in for the playoffs," but now you're still having to fight for it. So I don't think it's going to be a big dip because I don't have them in my top three teams right now. But you got, some teams like Utah is not going to be. I think it's just going to be tough. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the playing seed, or I wouldn't be surprised they top three. But right now, I'm not, so sure on, Jay's Suns right now.
Yeah. So the Suns, never mind. We're not even but I do think that it has been interesting to me because I know the name and I know the talent and just the hesitation that has been seemingly shown by teams not just going and getting this young talent that can put up these numbers says that it's more than just maybe the numbers to me. And I think a lot of people see what I see and saw when he got benched in the playoffs that he probably is not a franchise changing player. And do you want to risk a max deal long term on a big man? So that's interesting. I don't understand the Harden thing. I don't. It seems like we know the terms of the deal. Why it's not signed is still a little weird to me. I'm not concerned, but I don't understand.
I'm not concerned yet. I'm going to be concerned in a little bit, right? This thing's not on, paper. I'm going to, them scary, creepy thoughts going to start creeping. Like, oh man, he's going to go somewhere else. So I'm trying to hold out good faith. You see, I'm out here smiling, but the good faith to me is him hanging out with his teammates. If he wasn't with them, if he was on his own, I'd be a little nervous. Right now, I'm really not.
He's working out with Sam Cassell. That is
Sam Cassell, who should be, the head coach of my Sixers. Or he's going to be head coach somewhere else. He's the point guard. Whisper, listen, I'm tired of Doc, but that's neither here nor there. I think that James Harden deal is going to get done soon, and same thing with DeAndre here.
Okay.
I don't know. James Harden. I think James Harden, they're saving James Harden because they can go over the cap with James because he's already on the team. So if there are a few scoundrels out there, they can still scrap up and they do have to go over. They save that for the end.
But he's taking less money, so that's
he's going to end up taking less money.
Opening them up to do something else, potentially.
Yeah, no, that's my point. Is that I think that they're saving it because he's already working the contract out this team friendly. So in that light, if they are working out that money to go after someone, and it does put them on the brinks of hitting that luxury, they can still sign James and go over that luxury at that point. because he
It's
was
a few
already on
names
the
that we've
team.
been tied to right now that as far as trade. So I think that's another
So
reason why.
I have another question, kind of in a different direction, and where I also my hesitation would come from. Right now, James Harden is an unrestricted free agent. He
Mhm.
opted out.
Mhm. Yep.
He's working out right now.
Yeah.
What happens if James Harden gets hurt in training tomorrow? Like
Why you come on? Like, knock on wood, man. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Like,
I'm just saying,
like what?
if you're Philly,
If
if
a
you're
dude
Philly,
get working,
and
if a dude
you
gets hurt playing 1-on-0, ain't like he playing 5-on-5. He
Yeah, he's
just
doing workouts.
like if he
but
get
my
hurt
point
doing
is,
that, it's
why?
nothing you can't.
Yes, you
That's
can.
nothing
You
you can do
give that
about that.
man his security. If he's going
Sam,
out and putting himself at
But
risk,
it's only a 1-year deal, so what? That's not really no security.
I opted out of
No,
$47.5 million.
okay. You said now is he going to get all this money? No. Are they going to re-sign him? I mean, I will hope so. Wow.
James Harden
Can we
got like
talk about something
he got
else?
like $100 million insurance policy on
Can
his
we talk
legs.
about something
But he's already made a ton of money though, so I don't
Can
know
we
if that's
change
really.
I'm
the
simply
subject?
stating about where we are right now.
Well, like, what are
And
we talking about?
The point I was trying to
Chris.
get to was
Chris getting tight.
he gonna show up in a boot.
my point was
Put that
if I'm Philly and I want him to come in the best shape as possible, I would want to make sure we have a deal in place because I know you don't play and you think about injury, but get a man the contract, let him sign it so that he can get in depth workouts. That's why people hold out all the time because they don't want to get hurt while they're waiting to get the big money.
So Ray, don't you think they got that? Don't you think they got that wink, wink? You know, we already talked about tampering.
So
Don't you think they already got that?
Yeah,
that's
we
my
tampering.
point.
Listen, we tampering. Listen, we tampering.
Hey,
He not listen.
the contract signed. It's post dated. He got a post dated
that's all.
check.
It's just just waiting to get the DocuSign.
Like,
you know
what
what I'm saying?
Right. He got a post dated check. He can't cash it. He can't cash it till August 12th.
Kind of post dated.
Oh man!
This is the only time I never wanted to talk about my Sixers. Like, it's just nothing good out of this conversation.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Nah, you got nothing to worry about, Chris.
Hey,
he'll be back. And then the other thing too, though, is I think that this is a strategic move by Harden, signing this one deal with option because I think that he realized that his stock took a hit.
Oh yeah.
So I think he's trying to, to show that he's still, that guy and come back and have a big year and then just cash in and get a big bag.
The other part of that is, and we have a lot because we know all the Warriors end at the same time. Is that's the end of like when they can opt out of the CBA and not the CBA, the TV money kick in. So we see a lot of people setting their contracts up to
That's
be able
second
to re-up.
tier.
That Dame Lillard just did it. Harden's talking about doing it.
Then they got 3 tiers of this CBA. I think it's like 3 tiers of level ups at the end of it. They got one more, I think.
But I know the money's supposed to jump in 2 years, and that's why everybody's structuring their deals around being free. In 2 years,
guys getting 50 and 60.
It's about to listen. We talking about guys being overpaid.
Serious bag.
You're about to see guys that are barely all stars getting paid $40-50 million a year,
which is crazy.
But the money is there, so like I really can't say it's crazy if someone could say that.
I'll say it for you. It's crazy. Like Damian Lillard about to make $60 million against the cap.
I mean, how much
against the cap?
How much are the owners making?
See, listen, but okay, that puts context into the conversation. That just brings it into a whole different way. I agree with that part. Comparison of ownership pool percentage to player percentage, I agree with that part. I just think there's a lot more money to go around for other people, and that's where I think that we're missing the boat is that you got we're not going to talk about the lottery picks, but even the second rounders, man, we got 2-way contracts. These guys get hurt, they done. You want to talk about that, Ray?
I know.
These guys are on contract.
I agree with you on that 1,000%. But then know it's not even no but then. Like you would say, okay, well, you look at a guy like Dame, he's the face of this, he's doing this, they get all this TV money, he's doing this, he's doing that, which is understandable. But I'm with you, these guys that sign these second round contracts, G League or unsigned free agents, things like that. Just 100, 250,000, a million, and then that's the only contract. That sucks.
And they spending more money traveling around and living just
Yeah.
to be existing in the league than they are making out of the situation. So no, when you put it in context like that, Chris, yeah, I agree with that part, but I still think the bottom end ain't getting taken care of. We're seeing the CBAs get worked out. We're seeing players talk about, oh, we should get more of the pie, but again, it's still the top guys getting it, and the rest of the league ain't really seeing that ripple. I mean, we're seeing guys like Landry Shamet. We're seeing the middle tier be not quite C level, but B level. They just making it. We're seeing them guys get paid a little bit more than they would have in the past, but there's still other guys on the team that I feel like.
I'll say this: it's going to that bottom tier. I don't. It's crazy to call them bottom tier, but like the bottom tier, they're probably not going to see it as fast. But coming up, the D tier, the C tiers, your bench players and role players are going to start getting 10 to 15 million a year. Which a couple years ago, that's what Steph Curry was making when he was winning MVPs. So I think with this new money, more people are going to start getting at least $10 million a year, which you're going to say, oh yeah, that's low compared to this, but look how it was a couple years ago. So everybody's going to be taken care of. Nobody's going to get taken care of as much as a superstar, because at the end of the day, you're not valued. You're not bringing the value, not even on the court, but money wise, what the superstars are, all that stuff. But I feel like as more money starts being generated, then everybody's going to start seeing the effect from the guy that's the sixth man to the 12th man, and hopefully that money
two-way contract.
Exactly.
But even like now, to Chris's point, like the mid-level exception, I think is like $6 million. So I definitely see that in this next one being like $10 million, $10 to $12 million. So like you said, you're going to see you're going to see the lower tier guys starting to get a little bit, getting more money. And as they should, because, that just goes to show like how much money the league is, how much revenue the league is generating, to the fact that now the 10th man or the 12th man or you know what I'm saying, like these guys will have the potential to be able to make $10 to $12 million a year. And it also there's another thing that we're going to talk about a little later. And I think that also needs to be something where they need to trickle some of that money down to the WNBA. But that's another topic for later on in the show.
Read my mind. That was as soon as you took a breath, I was gonna, the exact words were gonna be, do you think there's a rev share situation that needs to take place in this? Because I mean, let's be quite honest. The ESPN situation, with the NBA, the NFL, they get paid. And it's a collaboration on how they do the coverage and how they, televise and push each organization. The NBA, the WNBA is a part of that package because of the ownership and the way it works. So, and for me, I don't feel like the ESPNs of the world and those networks really give the WNBA a fair push at all. They air games, and even when the games are being aired, I mean, I don't see commercials very often. You don't drive around your city seeing too many billboards. I don't see McDonald's having a WNBA tribute Happy Meal. Like I don't see those type of things for the league. And we all know how powerful marketing is. Nothing just happens overnight without any push, no matter what it is. And I think that's a big part of why they're not going as fast and not growing the way we think they should.
But Jay, so I have questions, and we was going to end up getting to this, I think tonight anyway. So you said that there's not enough push. So where I struggle with that ideology is they just had their All-Star game.
Yep.
The WNBA. And I watched more than I anticipated watching. There was little to no highlights in an All-Star game. The main highlight I keep seeing is the one girl dunking. And this is not shade, but there are middle schoolers that dunk better than that. And
Are they girls?
They're not.
All
but
right.
when you're trying to reach an audience of people, they're not going to be impressed by that. Like I've seen girls win dunk contests versus men for those kind of dunks, and men are doing 360s.
But that's BS though. Because look,
my point is, if you're going to push people, and yes, get it in front of more eyes, is it we're not getting it in front of enough eyes, or do the eyes see it and they'd rather watch something else?
Have you ever been to a WNBA game?
I have not.
It's a great experience. Watching the women's basketball, the women's professional basketball, not every player is going to be Diana Taurasi. Not every player is going to be, the Lisa Leslies, the Cheryl Swoops, the Birds. Not every player is going to be that. If we rewind this same league that we just sit here and we mull over and we express our feelings on a daily basis of the NBA, if we rewind back to the 60s, they weren't dunking like this. They weren't doing that. And if we don't give them a comment or a real shake, it won't never get to that.
But I think the problem is, Jay, I think to Ray's point, that because we're in this social media driven society, like you got to have the bells and whistles in order to get the eyes on you. And I think my problem is that, we always talked about, and it's always been talked about, how the NBA marketing machine is one of the best in the business. They said that's the reason why the NBA is such a global brand and why it's so popular, because they have this, marketing machine behind it. And, I don't see them giving. And I'm not actually, I don't know how what the solution is, but I just don't feel like that it gets the same marketing machine behind it that the NBA does. Like they don't push the product.
But that wouldn't make sense. They should not be getting equal marketing.
No, I'm not saying that they should get equal marketing. I'm just saying like the fact that you have that machine behind you that's proven to be able to grow a league. Like I feel like that it should have had more of an impact. My man just showed the yo.
You see it too, right? But yeah, he put Chet to the ground.
Man, he just got knocked over like a. Oh my gosh,
Kenny, I'm with you, because like I talked about last time, how maybe because I'm just 21, but how social media is really where you're going to target your fans and get your fans at. So I look at a platform like YouTube. The WNBA only has 231,000 subscribers and 5,000 videos. But if I look at what the NBA has, millions of subscribers and probably 10 times as many videos posted. Like just things like that, using these free social media platforms. That's the little stuff that the NBA is doing, just pushing and pushing and pushing. As far as when it comes to, sponsorships and things like that, that stuff is going to grow. But the little things, I feel like, is what I want to see the WNBA do more. Even on Instagram,
it's not even the WNBA, it's the NBA.
I mean, no,
those
as well. Those as well, ESPN, all the major things that WNBA needs to get more pushed. You know what I'm saying? Whoever's involved of the WNBA social media accounts, that are the things, that's where they're getting posted at, on their own platforms. They need to be posted more on their own platforms.
Also, here's the thing. Here's another thing. There's two other sides I'll look at. I'll bring up, but one question for you, Ray. What was the biggest story of the WNBA All-Star Game?
Brittany Griner.
And I ain't even heard that much about that really as of the last couple of days.
Trophy.
You know what I've heard?
Oh yeah, that was rough.
Summer League. Summer League is saturated, and it's not a bad thing. We got Chet. We got Banchero.
That's what I'm saying, but it's understandable.
I think that's
it's not understandable.
That's why. But I'm saying I think that's why the NBA has part of it. Why it's struggling is because even while they're in the heart of their season, everybody's eyes is on the NBA Summer League for the next 10 days. So that's taking even more eyes off of them while they're in the heart of their season. Now, I understand now they're in their All-Star break of however long that is, but I'm just saying, like, eyes are now getting taken off of them because you got NBA Summer League going on, and everybody's watching NBA Summer League.
See, but that brings me to my second part, though. Real
but I
quick,
think that's something they should be able to capitalize off of.
Me too.
It shouldn't be in competition with.
But how many ads have you? How many promos have you seen for WNBA games with the Summer League games? I haven't seen any.
So that to me would be, to Chris's point, where we've had the conversation about sponsorships and things. That would make a lot of sense. They should be advertising their league during this summer league. Like, I think they should be having maybe some of the women that can go to the games. You know how they shout out when every time an athlete goes to summer league.
If I'm the Las Vegas Aces, if I'm the Las Vegas Aces, they should be sold out.
That's what I'm saying.
They should have all. They should package
all of the players at as many players as possible sitting courtside, just like they sit courtside at these games.
LeBron should be showing up
at some Aces games.
Right, LeBron should be showing up, making an appearance in Vegas at the Aces. But
Russell Westbrook just went to a good women's basketball game, didn't he?
But it's not.
That was a Sparks game, though.
Yeah, but that's in LA.
And
But what I'm saying is,
Kyrie went to a Sparks game as well.
But the New York Liberty and the Los Angeles Sparks don't have that issue. The New York Liberty get celebrities in there. The Los Angeles Sparks do the same. It's the outside. It's the other. And here's my other thing about this.
Nice block.
When baseball was doing bad, back when in the early thousands, they were trying to make that rebirth. What was their number one recipe? Kids in the stands. They were giving away baseball tickets at every freaking school as much as possible. And I think that if you have a problem with getting people in the stadium, 50% of your tickets, if you have 60% of your seats vacant, 30% of those seats should be free tickets to the kids and their families.
I agree with that.
100%.
But the only thing about that, though, Jay, is that doesn't help your bottom line.
It does. It does. That
creates it's going to get your eyes on it. I've got, I don't want to say bamboozled, but free tickets. I went to a soccer game for free. I fell in love with going to soccer games. Same thing with baseball. I went to a baseball game for free. Fell in love with baseball, and I was a kid. So when you're a younger kid and you go to something and you enjoy that experience, you're going to want to go. You're going to want to go again. Then you're going to become a fan of that sport. So I mean, can you write? No, just real quick. Can you write saying you're just giving away free tickets? That might not help, but it's just that say you give away 30 tickets, you bring back one fan, and you let that keep building on. So I think that they could. You don't got to do it all the time, but it's something just to.
I think during this summer league, that is, if they are not having booths and stuff set up at this UNLV campus, that's a failure.
They had not one WNBA nothing.
Oh, so I didn't know you was out. Then that
I just got back last night.
That is a massive failure.
And so that's what I talk about when I say they're not getting push cards.
They're going to these summer league games. You should be handing out your tickets outside, saying, "Hey, y'all interested in basketball?" Boom,
we
got that.
Y'all been to Vegas, right?
Of course.
Sadly, no.
Okay. Well, Ray.
I just turned 21. When am I going to Vegas for at 17, 18, 19 years old?
Yeah, that's one of the places you could go under age.
That's one of the places we was about to woo. Yeah. Hey, Ray.
It's just a number.
Ray, you remember this?
I was at I was living 3 years in COVID.
You know what I'm talking about, Ray? When they be walking down and they trying to give you the cards.
Yeah.
That's how they should be doing them WNBA tickets.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, they should be on the street. Look, there ain't no reason why I walk down Vegas and forget the Aces play there. I see the hockey team saturated in Vegas.
Well, that's
saturated,
pretty good, but yes,
but they are good. But it's the point. We're talking about the NHL.
You're right.
That
to me is the comp, and that's who they should be able to replace.
Yeah.
Like, bro, and then to your point as well, Kenny, on the whole giving away tickets, I get that part. But I sat here and watched for the last 2 years. I watch the WNBA games and I look in the stadium and I'm like, dude, you only had the one night. It's not like you can go back next week and say, let me go give you these tickets. Nobody else came. No, that night's gone. Your stadium is 70,000 deep. You're playing in these big stadiums. You got 15,000, 20,000 fans.
Too for a lot of these teams are not playing in these bigger arenas now. I think that was one of the strategies that they did too.
They're in a much smaller arena.
Yeah.
Even those are sold out though.
Yeah, they're scared.
But they're not.
But I think the other point is though, I think you guys do make a good point of giving away the free tickets because you could make it back in concessions.
Exactly.
So
that's the point. Get kids in there.
Merchandising, concessions, all that.
If I give you, and here's the other thing. If you really want to do it, Kenny, to your point, give it away at schools. Don't give it directly to the
especially
family.
Now the school is out. You could definitely get the kids. It's much easier to get the kids to come out to the games now the school is out.
Right. Well, or give it away
summer camps. Go to the summer camps.
That's what I was just gonna say. Give it to the sports summer camps, and then but only give it to the kids. So now, the kid comes home. You got 2 kids in the household. They got tickets. Mom and dad, you got to buy 1 ticket.
I just went through that. My job gave away some tickets, but in order for this all to go, I had to buy an extra ticket.
So now, would you have bought that before?
No. And now my kids love it. Now my son wants to play baseball all around the house. It's completely different. We got 2 baseballs while we were there that they still carry around to this day. That impact has changed.
Damien, what up, DH? I get that.
I don't know about with raffle. That'll be tough though with the raffle because they're already struggling to sell tickets. So to try to raffle,
now you got to sell another ticket to get a ticket. No, but I would definitely try to get as many kids.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And then they're gonna bring energy too to the arena.
Davian try to make it. Davian try to turn these kids in his college.
Go to. That's how I went to my soccer game, my Phillies games. Go to these sport. I'm saying sports because I used to do sport camps all the time. But go to these sports camps in your local cities, in your local states.
Go to the YMCA.
Go show up and show your face and have a certain amount of tickets.
Definitely.
To take your star players or a coach and go hand them out.
And if you're in, and this is the other thing that to me is a real loss as of this moment for the whole WNBA as a whole. If you are located, if your franchise is located in an area where there's underprivileged kids, or there's poor, that is a target. But I'm talking about, like, you got places like the Mystics. They're playing downtown, I think in the DC, right?
Yeah.
And then there's rough on that areas. You got Chicago, you got New York. A lot of the franchises are in these key areas, man. This is a way to also disrupt that. So I think they're failing in that sense of they're trying to, I don't know if this is their way of growing organically, so to speak, or
man, it's 25 years, man.
Bro, we passed that.
Yeah, we gotta start thinking of doing things different.
You're in an established league at this point,
right?
And you can't piggyback off the NBA any longer.
Well, let me ask y'all this.
But you need to start branching off. I'm with you, Jay. You need to start branching off. But like we just talking about them posting up at Summer League and doing all these things, you took advantage of it, then we want to be saying certain these things. Like, you constantly took advantage of it. Wouldn't it be an issue? Like, I feel like the G League takes more advantage of the NBA.
Yeah, 100%.
Even though that their own thing, the point I'm trying to make is,
but you know why though, Chris? Because they're all affiliated with the NBA team. I think that's part of the problem too, is that, like, and I'm not sure how they could do it, but if there's a way to kind of funnel the revenue down, like if the WNBA teams were associated with NBA franchises, that they could funnel like a revenue share almost type of situation where they can funnel some of that revenue down to the NBA team so that they can increase the salaries.
But to that point,
but the problem is that there's not enough teams to
do it for every single one.
Yeah, so you kind of have to.
But to that point as well, though, the LA Sparks and the New York Liberty, they're sister teams.
Right,
You know,
that's what I'm saying. Like that's
and-
that's what needs to be like for all of the teams where they should have a sister, a parent, for lack of a better term, a parent team that can kind of underwrite, to some extent and help them to maintain their operations and so that they can increase the marketing budgets, increase the the salary bases and things of that nature.
But what I was gonna say was, to me, freaking Connecticut and Seattle are some of the most popular teams in the WNBA,
Oh, 100%.
and they ain't got no sister team.
Yeah,
that's true.
And so it's. I really think it's about the marketing. I see Connecticut pushing their players,
But that makes sense in Connecticut because you have UConn.
So
that
also,
that have nothing to do with the WNBA.
Where they play at as well. They play at
because you got to think
Sun,
there's an established base that supports women's basketball. You don't have a lot of bases that support women's basketball, and that is a place that's going to do that because they've been saying UConn for the last 20 years. And then Seattle is starving for basketball, and they
have no basketball
people to go back there. So I think those play roles. And to your point, if you market that right, then you can capitalize off of it. And I don't know if the Aces play. I don't think they play here, but I think they missed this opportunity. Specifically that team, if not the WNBA as a whole.
The Aces are down in Las Vegas. They right there. So
they're Connecticut plays at the Mohegan Sun, so they're right at a at a kind of like an attractive spot too.
See, but that's another thing, Kenny. I don't know, and if you guys have seen it in your cities, let me know because I have yet to see it. I don't even see them at colleges, and if I'm the WNBA, I'm trying to get as many women in college going to these games, especially if you're on basketball teams. Like these type of things, I don't see them doing. The NBA will go get a whole women's basketball team and bring them to the game.
I mean, I think it's also a sport that lacks an identity of fan culture. Like baseball has a fan culture.
True.
They have, the traditions, whether it's, the seventh inning stretch and stuff like that. I think hockey has that kind of following as well. I think part of what we keep saying with the marketing is they have to figure out what is their audience and then how can they target them and then maximize it and grow it. And I think they're still trying to figure that out. But I think that's an important point because if you were to ask them, who is your target audience? I don't know that they could tell you. And I think that's because that hasn't been established yet for whatever reason.
It should be kids.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It should be people brand new that don't have a stigma for the NBA.
And that's the commercial. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's about, I don't know if it's Amazon or Microsoft Business, but it's a girl that basically designed women's basketball shoes. And she's like, nobody was ever making them. All the women had to wear men's shoes. And like, why? So it's like you have a group, and y'all keep talking about the kids, a group of young women specifically that you should be shoving this down their throat, for lack of a better term, and targeting the summer camp. So the partner with Girl Scouts of America, stuff like that to
go after Rihanna,
establish that
partner Rihanna or something, man. Like
for real,
do those type of things.
For real, like
great.
Listen, like Rihanna, Beyonce, shoot, you get that beehive rolling.
You get that behind. It's over. Yo, it's over. Listen, it's over. Them numbers going to be increasing by 200,000. Them Instagram,
beehive warning.
What? Being that deep. You hear me?
Oh, WNBA, we just solved your problem.
Listen,
we did.
Listen. You might as well tell Beyonce buy a team in Texas, Houston.
Seriously, that's
the end of it. Chris, that really would end it.
Honestly.
You get Beyonce.
Put a franchise in Houston because that's where she's from.
Exactly.
And make her the owner.
So you get Beyonce and Jay-Z to team up by a team, right?
It's
and
over.
Then you get Rihanna and
you get Rihanna, A$AP Rocky,
A$AP Rocky to buy a team. Now they out there, man. That'll turn it out.
I mean, but my point about it is just like get some more, like some new more ideas going because you bring them. Listen, they're bringing a lot with them. They're bringing a following, but they're also bringing something that's working, trend setting, culture, like something that's going to shake the room up. So like the point I'm trying to make is with the WNBA, I just want to see more ideas, new ideas, and more people just
you
being
gotta definitely
involved
switch it up.
as a whole. So I would go, and if I'm in these, LA's, New York, I'm going at these celebrities. I'm having these artists, whether they're local or big time, performing at halftime as much as I can do, and I'm going to promote it like, oh, we're going to have such and such at halftime. If that gets a couple more fans, so be it. But I think, from where the WNBA started to where they're at now, I think they're in the right direction, but it's because we see the NBA getting $500 million, about to be $500 million contract.
I'm gonna say this, man. We have some of the best players in the WNBA over the past 25
Hoopers,
years.
Hoopers.
Skill.
But bro, I'm gonna tell you something.
Skill.
Those Houston Comets, them old
It's different.
school Los Angeles Sparks,
Oh,
that
yeah.
Rebecca Lobo led New York
Yeah, the
Liberty
Liberty.
team.
Yeah.
I can go on a couple more, but those teams had
rivalries is
organic.
real.
They had organic excitement.
Mhm.
Yeah. The rivalries is real.
And I think that the league is more athletic as a whole right now. I think the team
Clearly.
is the league.
Oh, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
So to your point earlier, Ray, I don't necessarily know if it's the excitement factor, or if it's the rivalries. Everyone is so friendly in the WNBA. They weren't friendly back in the 90s.
That's in the NBA too.
That's
No.
true.
So that ain't
That's
that's this generation. But that's partly this generation.
You heard what Pat Bev said.
Oh, Ray, I'm about to throw you a bone. They might need to reach out to your boy Kanye because if anyone knows anything about marketing,
Kanye spark your life. But listen, with this generation, the competitive still is at an all-time high. Kenny, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Some people still got that old school bone in their body.
Who you talking about? The WNBA?
But
I'm just talking about the generational, because he
Oh
was saying
no. I'm not
players and
saying
all
that
stuff.
guys are not competitive. I think that I'm just saying that they're more friendly.
But
and
I
you don't
think
have
we
the rivalries like
I don't know about that. I can't because
I'm talking about the WNBA, and I'm not a big watcher, but like I remember like those Houston
that was different.
And New
They didn't
York
like
rivalry, like that thing was real, man. They used to go at it. So like I'm not sure like what's today's rivalry in today's WNBA. I think that's part of it too.
Bird and Tarazi are like friends. Like
I think they're mostly friends. They all typically.
Bird and Magic were friends. They just didn't let it know.
Yeah, but they went at each other's heads.
They weren't friends
so
on the court.
Be friends and still be competitive.
Bird and Magic fight each other on the court.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, and then go have a beer.
No, for sure.
I do want to keep it moving just a bit. So speaking of fighting on the court, and we talked about Summer League, and this is what makes Summer League great. And unfortunately, our resident Lakers fan has left us. But LeBron James, and this is something that I hadn't paid much attention to until I really sat and started to think about this. I've heard report after report after report about how much LeBron James wants Kyrie Irving. Mm-hmm. I keep hearing that. And then I have to be reminded that Russell Westbrook is his current point guard. So if we're teammates, why are you, one, putting that out? And two, if you're not putting it out, why aren't you stepping on it? As a teammate, I would have a huge problem with you conducting yourself in this way with your history. So we saw Summer League. I believe, I don't know who arrived first or who arrived second, but they in essence sat at opposite ends of the stadium and did not speak to one another. When, that's LeBron, everybody going to talk to LeBron. Russ didn't. Russ was helping the team coach the Summer League team. Darvin Ham has been super supportive of Russell Westbrook. My question is, what is going on in LA? And why isn't Bron receiving more criticism for not addressing his support for another player on another team, which is the epitome of tampering? I digress, and I'll start with you, Kenny.
Are we really surprised here? Like
This
this
is
is
so
to
funny.
me, this is par for the course for LeBron James. This is passive aggressive LeBron
But people
James
tell
at
me
his
he's a great
finest.
leader and teammate.
But
This
I'm
is
just saying,
terrible teammating.
but everybody, but it's no secret that LeBron James is a passive aggressive leader. He's not the guy that's going. You don't never see him really getting in guys' faces or see him really airing guys out or embarrassing guys or anything to that nature. So I think that's the fact that he's not. The fact that he didn't speak to him was like, yo, that's the sign to let you know, bro. You might not,
Mm-hmm.
I know LA is home, but I wouldn't get too comfortable because remember last year they was all buddy sitting next to each other and you know what I'm saying, chatting it up. So the fact that they're on opposite sides of the court, I think that should tell you everything that you need to know. And I think this is just another example of LeBron James' passive aggressive side kicking in, that he's not going to say anything because this is something that he wants, and he doesn't want to, LeBron never wants to be the bad guy. So he's never going to do anything that's going to make him look like the bad guy. So he's not going to come out and say publicly, I want Kyrie Irving on his team. I'd rather have Kyrie Irving on his team than Russell Westbrook. Because if it doesn't work out, then he still got to play with Russ. You know what I'm saying? And Russ and Russ seemed like the type, Russ ain't for the nonsense. So I could see, like, you know what I mean? Like, you talking out both sides
that
of
bridge
your
is
mouth.
burned.
You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna come see you. You know what I mean?
That
I think Russ got that type of energy where I'm gonna come see you if you're talking at me sideways. So I think he's being very intentional in what he's doing, because while he wants Kyrie Irving, he's not gonna make it public, and he's not gonna do anything to show the public that that's what he really wants. But I don't think it's a secret at all.
Coming out, isn't that doing the same thing by not giving any support?
To me, that's LeBron being LeBron,
right? But that obviously, we talked about the Brooklyn situation with Kyrie. They're still burning a bridge that you really need to exist, and I can assure you, we've seen Russ. If they are here in Summer League, what do you think the season's about to be like?
He don't care though. Honestly, I don't.
LeBron is going to sabotage this season.
He don't. No, I'm saying he's not worried about Russ's feelings right now. He wants what he wants.
But that's my point. What kind of leader and teammate is that? You're going to
think about it. Remember when he was
which great player is the best leader?
I was going to say, but remember when he went back to Cleveland from Miami.
Jordan
he didn't even tell Dwayne Wade.
Hey, did they hit the shot?
He didn't tell Pat Riley. He wasn't taking Wade's calls or nothing like that. So this ain't nothing new.
I agree, it's nothing new, but I think this is one of those things that I don't understand why he gets.
Got to whip up in the shape sometime, Chris.
Like this is nasty, and he's making it. He's forcing management's hand because now more management is having a problem. Because you won't come out and say, we keep putting out reports of how we're supporting Russ and we want Russ to be here, and you keep turning around and having reports saying
it's LeBron's fault. It's LeBron's fault. All right, let's get to the bottom truth. It's LeBron's fault because for some reason LeBron wanted Russ when everybody knew it wasn't going to work. Everybody said bring in shooting and young guys from the jump from that first trade. Everybody said, okay, bring in a Buddy Hill, just bring in young talent or keep the young talent that you have. But instead, he wanted to give Russ, a player that we all know was not going to work beside him. It had nothing to do with Anthony Davis.
Melo.
Because, listen, it had nothing to do with Anthony Davis. The reason why they wanted to get another guy is because they know AD is fragile. But the guy you were supposed to get was supposed to be somebody that meshes well with LeBron. Of course, Anthony Davis and Russ going to have their own pick and roll. But how is LeBron going to fit into the situation? Now, LeBron's depth. LeBron is a very good shooter. He upgraded it from his career. Look, he's not like Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook, you're going to stand. You're going to stand in the
very good.
Okay, you're not going to leave LeBron wide open like you leave Russ wide open.
I mean, there's levels,
but that was up until this year, bro. That didn't happen years before. You can leave Russ open.
But that's the point. You see LeBron working on his game. He became a better pick and roll screener now with the ball in his hand. But as far as the screener, like the Draymond role, LeBron tried to upgrade his game. We didn't see Russ do that. I don't know why LeBron wanted Russ in the first place.
No, Chris, I think you off on that.
No, I'm trying.
He went down this year. Russ went down this year, but he was doing good year before that.
But look at the system he's playing with. He's playing with nobody in the paint.
None.
Nobody's going to be in the paint with him. Everything was catered to help Russ. The Lakers and LeBron, that was the dumb thing to go get Russ because it wasn't going to be catered for him. So he went Kyrie because he's not going to deny it because Kyrie's a better fit for them to win. That's why he's not. Listen, LeBron fault. Russ is there. You got laying the bed you made. So him not saying nothing, it's him really, he not trying to burn no bridges with him getting Kyrie, or just in case he got played.
Him not saying nothing is protecting his own imagery.
Exactly.
What is he gonna say? What is he gonna say? I messed up. Yeah. I messed up, and I need some. But I don't even think he messed up neither. See, the problem to me, honestly, I felt like AD and LeBron went to the room and was like, "Look, I'm tired when you injured, and I'm getting injured because you tired." Like and they looked at Russ, who's averaging a triple double. He's done this on 2-3 different teams. He has this high energy. His motor never turns off. He runs on high octane all the time. So they were to me, they saw Russ as we could take a break. We could take a break and have him run the team while we're taking a break. That's what I saw. And the problem is you still got to play together. There's still a fourth quarter. There's still you know what I mean? Like there's still a fourth quarter. There's still a time where y'all gonna be on the floor together, and it's gonna be some Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green on the other side. It's gonna be a Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and somebody else on the other side, and you can't just throw whatever up and say it's gonna fall and land. Like that was one thing. And then the other thing to me is that I don't think no one's taking into real account is LeBron is not an LA guy. LeBron is not the typical LA guy that the Los Angeles Lakers get and hold on to for the longevity of their career. He's nowhere near that. He's not anywhere he's not a West Coast guy. LeBron is not a West Coast guy, first of all. The second thing is LeBron
he set up shop in LA.
That's fine. LeBron is Hollywood, but he's not a West Coast guy.
I'm just saying, like he clearly wants to make that his home, and so.
But I think that's post.
He's not a West Coast guy, but he's got his business interests and all of that other stuff, and moves his family there. So I think that's going to be he's trying to be for the rest of his career.
Right. Post basketball, I think he might end up out there. His movie career, everything else is there. Right. But I'm thinking of as far as basketball and everything goes, LeBron has never been a guy that wanted to play. I mean, he said he did, but he never really wanted to play in the West. He's from New York. Everything else is just East Coast. He's an East Coast guy. And then to come over to LA is one of those things where you got to put the franchise first. LA is a franchise first organization, and they're going to do what's best for the franchise at all times. Kobe was great because Kobe was able to balance the franchise in himself. Kobe was able to do that. He's not going to come out and put things in the air that rubbles up the team like that.
But I was going to say, but all of that stuff that we say about Kobe, let's not forget. Kobe was the same guy that demanded the trade. So
looking at schools in Chicago.
Yeah, but at the same time,
the only reason that trade didn't go down is because they couldn't figure out a way to not include Luol Deng in the trade. If they figured out a way, Kobe was playing for Chicago.
So I mean,
because that was the Jordan thing.
Had built up to that point, and I don't think anybody really blamed him. It was almost similar to DeJounte Murray situation. The team hadn't been good.
No, and I'm not faulting Kobe for.
That's
I'm not faulting Kobe for.
I'm
just saying that when everybody talks about that whole him,
but it was towards the end of his career.
He did have his moment too.
That was the middle.
No, it was kind of before Pau Gasol, I believe.
And that's why
it was before Pau Gasol, and they ended up trading Mark for Pau. You're right.
So that's the middle of prime.
I don't think that Jeannie Buss has ever had to deal with a guy like LeBron. No, and
he's hard to deal with.
Well,
that's
a great point. And I think that
Kyrie off the first time and ran him out of Miami.
I don't think he ran out of Miami. I think he realized that
he left Miami because he didn't like the situation with Pat Riley.
He couldn't run. He couldn't have things the way he wanted things to, like the way he had it in Cleveland. So that definitely was part of the reason why he left. Because that was Pat Riley's show. You're not gonna.
I feel you.
That's another organization to me that looked like LA.
But look how these franchises look after LeBron. And look how
sorry,
the
I don't know if y'all watching the Boston Milwaukee game. The summer league, they just hit a 3 with half a second left, and
his
Boston
ankle
went up 2.
I'm still watching Chet get. Oh, they showing it now.
His ankle, boy.
Yeah. Oh.
No, but I agree. I mean,
but look at these franchises after he leaves and what he does when he gets there. Los Angeles was a trash team before he got there, and look how trashed, all the trash. They weren't winning nothing. He got there, he won a championship.
I don't think that's fair. I think that
no,
team
I don't think that's fair either.
Got back to a point. I think they were going to be good, and I think that core. If
they were going to, you had to hope. Right. You had to hope.
But he traded all of that away. So the reason he was able to get AD is because that LA team that he went to had a ton of value. And so without that value,
a ton of young talent.
Young talent.
Well, yeah, they were bad for a stretch.
Was LeBron traded to LA?
He signed. I would do it all over
exactly. And that's my point. And that's my point. And LeBron's not stupid. LeBron is a very smart individual, and LeBron is very crafty in what he does.
Oh yeah,
that's why we're in the position we are in LA. Correct. That's why we're in the position we are in LA, because LeBron writes power into his contracts, bro. Like I mean that in a sense, like you got a 2-year deal with 2 player options.
Yeah, he plays the leverage game like nobody else.
I mean, but why? But as he should. Why shouldn't he?
No, but that's not what I'm getting at. But
I
I'm getting
at
is
that's part of what the headache is, and that's why Jeannie is, Jeannie sending these cryptic tweets at 1 a.m. that this is part of the package. Is when you get LeBron, is that you're gonna have to, deal with his, hands
antics
on the franchise.
Because look, Chris, imagine this right now, Chris. Eugenie, I come into your office. I'm LeBron. Hey, man, if you don't get Kyrie, I'm walking after next year.
But and also keep in mind, by all accounts, did he go to Darvin Ham's press conference? I didn't see him.
I don't think he was there.
Like that to me is telling. Like that, he should be there. I mean, he's the face, he's the future. Why is Russ there and you not there? And the whole thing is,
and he might be traded. Right. Thank you.
He not the listen. I mean, I'm with you. They're showing a whole bunch of support for Russ, as they should. They either be blowing smoke or they're trying to say, listen, we got to try to save this relationship. But at the end of the day, you're going as far as LeBron takes you. So if you're not going to try to cater to helping this team win, which ultimately is kind of listening to what LeBron is saying in a sense, then what are you really doing? You knew what you were getting when you signed him. You know what you were doing when you traded for Anthony Davis. If I look at since they traded for AD and this whole LeBron thing came, LeBron at his old age has been the most consistent player. So, I mean, we talking about all these faults, but he's done his job in LA.
This is the same Kyrie. This is the same Kyrie that LeBron said he didn't. But this is the same Kyrie that he said he didn't want to ever play with again. He was a horrible teammate. This same Kyrie that he said all that about, right?
He said that. Somebody showed me where he said that. He said those things. I ain't never heard those. I've never heard
LeBron in Cleveland. See,
I'm telling you, I really never heard this before.
He didn't use exact words. Bron don't ever just say exact things, but Bron alludes to things very, very well. Bron is very crafty. Again,
I mean, I heard him give Kyrie a ton of respect and big ups
afterwards. Since they
the year he left. The year Kyrie went to Boston, I heard LeBron say good things about Kyrie.
But
I don't know, man.
I think the other piece is if I'm LA, Chris, you said, look what LeBron has done. If I'm Jeannie and I'm looking around, I'm looking at what LeBron has done. And so, we got to give him the ring. And we can't throw that away.
That's the price you pay. Like,
you're going to take the ring.
But if we're not.
But listen to where he's going.
Which other player been consistent around?
No, but listen to where Ray's going with this. Because, we gave him the ring. But look at the team state right now. We don't got Josh Hart. We don't got Kuzma. We don't got this. We don't got that. We don't got this. And now, if we get rid of Russ,
you weren't going to win anytime soon with those guys.
James.
You had no alpha in that room. They weren't going to win anytime soon.
They don't keep
right. But you do that. But the difference is you do that because you expect LeBron to take you to the finals every year. So, if I'm Cleveland, I'm doing that because LeBron will take me to 10 straight finals.
I mean, let's look at
Miami.
Let's look at what happened after the trade. AD gets hurt, and then he gets hurt again. What you gonna do when the guy you traded for is not there?
The point, the fact of the matter is, you're here and you were playing. So the reason we gave you all the cachet and we understood and embraced all that came with you was because we expected you to have us in the finals, not missing the play-in tournament.
So I'm confused. If you trade away all those young players y'all said for one guy, but that one guy isn't there, it's LeBron's fault. You're not winning, not Anthony Davis.
No. Hold on. See, that's a loaded question.
That's not a loaded
question. Yes, it is. I'm gonna ask you the same thing. Hold on. I'm gonna ask you the same thing right now. We trade away Russ, Austin, THT. We give all these dudes, right? And you get Kyrie, and Kyrie ends up tearing his ankle up. He out for the whole year. Is that on LeBron? Is that on what do we do? What do we do there? Because he didn't got rid of everybody again.
I mean, you're not gonna have to get rid of everybody to get Kyrie. Russ makes 11 mil more. It's gonna be Russ and what?
Well, that part. But they're gonna.
I see what you're saying. It's not.
We've seen him they can trade them straight up. They can actually trade them straight up because Kyrie has a 10% trade kicker in his contract, so the salaries would match.
I mean, Jay, I see where you're going, but it's not. But how you gonna blame LeBron because somebody else injured? I'm not blaming the Lakers.
I am because you told me to go get him. You picked him.
It's not.
But
it's not that I'm blaming.
AD wasn't healthy in New Orleans. He had an injury history before that, and you told us
keeping those guys. What they gonna do?
We went and got him
because other than Brandon Ingram, and they kept Kuzma. Lonzo's not is less healthy than Anthony Davis. What are we talking about?
But my point, true. Still your core,
but that core wasn't going nowhere. They were going to go a sec.
Nah,
Chris. Yo. You don't think Lonzo? Lonzo's
never healthy. So you tell me Brandon Ingram, Kuzma, and LeBron. I would take
and Josh Hart.
I would take LeBron and AD any day of the week over that.
And that's not an argument. But what the point is if we didn't make that
one
move,
is this.
I think that is an argument today.
One is real. One is being
make that trade today.
One is being real safe. One is being real safe. You knew when LeBron signed there, he wanted to win. So keeping those young guys was real safe. Or one was okay. Let's cash in. And you cashed and you got a championship. Now I'm with you. LeBron won and Russell Westbrook. I never liked it, and I said it's LeBron's fault that they're in the position they're in right now. But in his mind,
the Lakers made that deal thinking that that was going to put them right back in contention for a championship,
right?
And it just
didn't. So I mean, you could say part of that is on the Lakers too, because I would have said no.
Right?
I'm saying no.
They should have said no.
I think that's where we're at now. They are saying no.
They don't have. Listen, this great organization is looking like they don't have no backbone. I'm saying no.
They did. That's what I'm saying. Them turning down that John Wall trade, I think, was them saying, no, we're not giving up the next pick we got in 2027.
Or the fact that they haven't made this trade for Kyrie Irving yet. That may be another.
And I'm not mad at them if they say, listen, we're going to keep Russ. Because I mean,
if I'm LA, do I make any trades until I see you re-up with us? Because LeBron can sign his extension, I think, in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
if you ain't going to commit to me,
and that could be why they're waiting. That could be why. That's a great point, Ray. That could be why they're waiting to to do anything.
Because you want me to trade my
LeBron. We know LeBron will leave you high and dry.
I don't see him. I don't see him reeing up. But to right back to your point with the not reeing up until the season's over. But right back to your point with the trades, I wouldn't trade away in the future if I don't see LeBron stays, but I'm still looking at. I got a young guy in his prime, Anthony Davis. LeBron leaves. Let's see if we can build something around him. But then you got to ask yourself when Anthony Davis leave too. So I think the Lakers.
I think if you're Jeannie and you grew up with Magic and you loved Kobe, I think she just want AD to get healthy enough so she can move him. I don't think her demeanor and his performance match up with what she expected.
I mean, outside of that first year, it matched up. That first year, he was balling. But after that, I'm with you.
He had something to prove that first year. No, he had something to prove that. He had something to prove that first year, bro. He had people telling him he was washed up. He had people telling him that LeBron was going to basically be carrying him and saving him. I mean, he had so many.
That's what's been happening. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just
not that year though. I'm just talking about that year, like you highlighted, Chris.
Yeah.
AD balled.
No doubt about
bubble.
But even before the bubble,
balled out before the bubble too. But he balled out that year, and I honestly think that half of it, when you bring that up, Chris, half of what we're dealing with is AD, because they did see AD step up to a level that they hadn't seen him in previously in New Orleans in a couple of years, and they thought prospectively, okay, we bring in Russ, and that again, I go back to the take breaks. I really think that's what it was.
I really agree with you on that. I'm with that. I think it was somebody in there that can like help take the load off those two guys. But in my mind, I would have went after somebody that yes, they can do that, but it's going to be an easier fit. Now, honestly, in my opinion,
Alexander.
Exactly. But honestly, in my opinion, it's not hard to make this stuff fit. Just put two guys that can shoot the ball 40+% around those guys. I think that's common.
Can you imagine Jordan Poole?
Yeah, common knowledge. We don't even got to talk about that. But it's just like I don't know. I'm tired of talking about the Lakers. I'm tired of talking about them.
We need a 30 for 30 on the Golden State Warriors front office and how they
draft. You build through the draft. That's what you do.
But they've accomplished in the last 10 to 15 years. I know I forget the guy in Oklahoma City gets a lot of credit.
Sam Presti.
Presti.
Him, the Spurs. It's called
building through the draft. Has done like some of those franchises. We definitely need to look more into that. But speaking of front office,
building through the draft.
But speaking of front offices and building through the draft and things like that, Brooklyn still has two players on its roster, and one of them is disappearing from the media. Another one's in LA going to games. Neither seems to be speaking a bunch, and neither has seemingly any interest in playing for them next year. So my question for y'all is, when do you think we'll start to see some movement on either trade? And is it beneficial for this to continue to drag out for Brooklyn, as they seem to have a high value on the option that they want? I'll start with you, Jay.
Horrible. It's horrible for the franchise. It's horrible for the other players in the locker room. If I'm any player, especially a young player in Brooklyn, especially after the owners, I'd rather have a team that wants to play and loses, or what do you say, wins 40 games, something ridiculous. Don't care about winning statement.
Yeah.
That just is it's just disheartening. You don't want to play for that franchise. If they don't care about winning, what are they going to value you when you want to go get a new contract? If they don't care about winning, what are they going to do when you go and say, hey, me and this dude ain't getting along, we're not able to mesh on the floor together, I think we need to either, move something around or get somebody else in here. It just tells me that they don't care. They're there to make the money off of what goes on, and it is what it is. And, that's horrible. Then you got your two best players, arguably top 10, top 5 players in the NBA, and they don't want to be there. And they're on the same team. You got two of the top 10, arguably top 5 players in the NBA on the same team, and they don't want to be there. That just says a lot to the organization, what they're representing, what's going on behind closed doors, why it dissolved so quickly. I mean, you guys, they got James Harden at one point, LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin. I mean, dude, the firepower, the star power that were in that locker room, and it dismantled like this. There has to be some more backstory to it.
Yeah. I also think, and this goes back to the conversation we had a while ago.
Right. Big point, John.
100%.
You speak to the value of Kyrie Irving. Like, none of this, in my opinion, happens if you just pay him. If you just pay him the money, none of this happens. You still have your core of Simmons, who's young and is the defensive guy. You got KD, who's still young. He's locked up for the next 4 years. Like, give him a 3 and a player option for 1, and this is a non-issue. But now you're stuck, and you talk about making money, but you're going to lose so much money because nobody's buying. I guarantee you they're not buying tickets right now. because they're probably
They
still at
still
the
was. They
prices.
wasn't even. They wasn't outselling the Knicks even with Kyrie
Right.
and KD there.
So
they
if
definitely not going.
you still got
to
you got to accommodate for the fact I could have them here, so the ticket price is going to be sky high, but people aren't going to buy them because they don't know if they're going to be there or not. So, and to Kenny's point, they were still trying to, gimmick their way to sellouts and stuff like that.
Right.
So, I just think this has been the same way I said a masterclass should be taught by Golden State and those front offices. This is a disaster. And they just destroyed what could have and should have been a dynastic type run. And they just ruined it over, as far as I can tell, ego. Like, the season was over. The mandate is lifted. Pay the man. But they took this stance and approach, and Brooklyn's going to go back to what they were before probably KG and them got there. Like, just
and when you
a team.
And when you bring that part up,
don't make me go into that.
When you bring that part up, though, I wonder if it ain't about the money and it's more about the fact that the way the team handled the Kyrie situation, the way they treated him as a player. What if that echoed in the locker room like, hey, y'all, that could be any of us? What if it was that echo?
Especially with that polarizing of an issue.
And
because I know what the internet and the TV will try and tell you how everybody feels away.
Mm-hmm.
But we saw the rule change because there was another group of people that felt the same way he felt.
Right.
So it ain't like he was just this, albatross on an island.
Because I heard Jaylen Brown didn't get the vaccine.
I mean,
there's plenty of players that didn't get the vaccine. They just weren't in cities where they had a mandate.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Bill didn't get the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Kyrie was a poster boy for it, and then they went after Andrew Wiggins because they knew Andrew Wiggins was going to have to take the vaccine because, again, he's in one of those areas.
Mm-hmm.
So it was easy for them to pinpoint Wiggins and bounce off of that, because what they didn't want to do is go to a player like Bill and him not get it, and him get to play with every game that he wants to play, while they have Kyrie being ridiculed and turned into a monster by the same people and not say anything about him. So they're strategic, man.
Oh yeah, we know that.
But I think it's to Ray's point about the ego is, I think what happened was that they basically put did everything that Kyrie and KD wanted for the most part. And then when they continued to want to assert their power, they finally came to the point where they didn't want to, they want to try to get the power back of the team, because you brought in Steve Nash because, well, first you signed Kyrie and KD together because you knew that in order to get KD, you had to sign Kyrie. Then you bring in DeAndre Ayton because the two of them wanted DeAndre Ayton to be there. Then you hire Steve Nash because that's who they wanted to be.
I still don't know why that he was hired.
Yeah, because he was going to be a figurehead. But then, like, if you're gonna, it's got to be one way or the other. You can't you can't empower the players to give them a say so on how the franchise is being run.
And they get mad.
And then when things don't work out the way you want them to, then you want to take the reins back of the franchise and then blame players. Like, you can't have it both ways. And then you can't sit there and say at the beginning of the season that either you're all in or we don't want you here at all, and then halfway through the season you flip and change course. Like, Kyrie could have been playing the whole season if you would have just
it's bigger than just changing course. You changed course because things weren't going well.
Exactly. So
the whole organization is trash, and they've been trash.
There's just no culture. There's no accountability, because if that's the case, then if you're doing that, then why are you looking at? Well, if you're looking at moving KD and Kyrie, why aren't you looking at moving Marks? Because he's the one that's been the captain of the ship all of this time. So if you feel like you wanted to, you want to win, I don't care if you win 40 games, as long as you have people that want to be here, blah blah blah. Then get rid of the president too, because You got to have somebody in the position with a backbone that's going to say no to the players. It's not going to do everything that they want, because you can't. At the end of the day, you have the final say in terms of how the franchise is run. You can't have somebody that's always going to do everything that the players say. Like, there's got to be something to where, like, even with the Lakers, we talked about the Lakers before. They haven't done everything that LeBron wanted them to do. Like, you got to sometimes be able to say no to the players and put your foot down. So then don't turn around and now it's just a bunch of hypocrisy in my opinion. And this is why where they are right now.
And they've been like that. And I've been saying for a while, the Nets, again, they land in the bed that they made. They've been doing it the past decade. They did it when they wanted to trade everybody and bring KG and Paul Pierce in there. And their organization went to poop, and they didn't have no picks, and it was a laughing stock, and they built it back up just to do it again. And so back to the question of how this thing is looking, I'm not mad at KD, at Kyrie, or any of the players that are questioning this organization, the leadership, because it's obviously that they don't have none. They don't have no leadership at the top levels of this organization, because they want to let the players do what they want to do. But then when everything goes wrong, instead of having a backbone and taking leadership and things that can easily be fixed, like just signing Kyrie, it doesn't have to be a 3-year max, a 2-year in a player option, or 1 year in a player option, but just showing him some type of, hey, we got you, we're going to take care of you. Because at the end of the day, he brought you one of the best players in the NBA. So just off that alone, not even his play and his skill set, which is an elite level, but just off the fact that he brought you Kevin Durant, you should give him some money. But then on top of that, he's one of the best players in the league. And so when it comes to trading those two guys, even though I don't like this team or this organization right now, first of all, if they somehow convince these guys to stay, they're one of the best teams in the NBA. And I think they're going to be a hard out in the East. And this is a big if, but if they stay healthy and things go well, I really think they can challenge anybody in the league. And I think they're the biggest threat to Milwaukee over Boston if they're able to keep this together.
I think the other part to that is, if they decide to buy back in, you want to talk about motivation. Like, that team will be motivated. Now, I don't know what Ben Simmons is, and he's had a couple posts, and he been outside doing whatever it is he's doing. But
his trainer said them back injuries was real. That he had to get surgery, and he couldn't walk.
Apparently he feels. He said he feels great.
I believe.
So hopefully, but everything.
If I'm the Nets, I wouldn't be mad if they do trade him, though. I would wait to the deadline. I think you're going to get the most for those players if you wait to the deadline, because the demand for Kyrie, you can probably get something better than Russ. The demand, didn't they get swept this year in the first round? They definitely did, but the team that, won a championship wasn't in the playoffs. So why are we talking about the past? The past don't mean nothing. But
I was
going to say real quick that I will wait to the deadline if I'm these two teams. If I'm the Nets, because you're going to get more for Kyrie, and right now they're asking too much for Kevin Durant that they're never going to get. So if they decide, listen, we're going to blow it up, you're probably not going to get your best offers to the deadline, because more teams are going to want a Kyrie, or more teams just to get him off his books, or more teams are going to want a Kevin Durant. So if you can't salvage,
and that expiring contract could be more attractive at the trading deadline. Yeah.
So, but hopefully as far as the NBA, not even a Sixers fan, but as far as the NBA fan, I really want to see those two guys play an entire season with a Ben Simmons and see what this team potential was really supposed to be, because we yet to see it, honestly.
But you know what the Nets are to me? They're like that person that tries to get rich quick network marketing scheme,
and it never. And it works for a day.
Stick with it for they all gun ho, and they stick with it for like 6 months, and then when it goes when it falls flat, then they drop it and they're on to the next thing. That's what I think the Nets are, because they don't have a sustained plan on how to build a team.
Nope.
They just try to strike real quick while the iron's hot and try to just try to hit a home run, but they're not able to keep the pieces that they bring, and it's right back to square one, and they're back to being a lottery team, and that's what it looks like they're going to be, like they're going to wind up being again.
Thunder, Warrior, and Spurs, they built themselves through the draft, and they try not to break their core,
and they keep their core together.
The Nets broke their core so many times just to get the flashy thing.
This
with
is like
a
the
flashy car,
but
then the flashy car always has to go to the shop. You should have kept the Honda, because the flashy Range Rover is always going to the shop. You keep trading them for the new thing, but just stay with the old reliable and build on it.
Yeah. So no, I definitely agree with all of that, and like I said, just disappointing as a fan of the game to not get to see either of the trios with Harden or with Simmons, and those two is disappointing. But speaking of, as far as playing, Ja Morant, who recently called himself Black Jesus sarcastically for the $500 tip he gave. Shout out to him for that. When asked about Michael Jordan, said he would cook him. I don't know how much time we want to spend on this, but Chris, I'll start with you. And what's wrong with Ja?
Nothing. Nothing's wrong. Nothing is wrong with Ja Morant. This was the energy that got him from somebody that had no offers to going to Division I, but it was only Murray State, a mid-major. But from that mid-major, he was the number 2 pick. Now he got a max deal. He was all NBA. Nothing is wrong with Ja Morant and his mindset. What are you supposed to say? Yeah, Michael Jordan would have cooked me, man. I wouldn't have been good in that generation. No, stand on your 10 toes. At the end of the day, is he wrong? Absolutely. Michael Jordan will probably beat him in a one-on-one. But you mean to tell me Michael Jordan is going to hold him from scoring? No. We saw also what Allen Iverson did to him with the crossover. Ja Morant has that. He's probably just as fast and he's more athletic. So you mean to tell me Ja's not going to score 1 point? Heck no. But is Ja going to win? Probably not. But this is the mindset I want to see players have. Don't sit down and say, oh, yeah, Michael Jordan, he's the greatest. Like, nobody will be able to do anything. No. The mindset that he has that got him to where he's at right now is the mindset you're supposed to carry with you every single day you walk on this earth. So if he's asked if anybody can beat him a one-on-one, no, I would crush anybody. And that's the mindset you're supposed to have as any athlete, no matter what sport. So am I mad for him saying these things? No, like he's not supposed to say anything else. We just mad because he's saying it. Like if somebody actually right now,
we're mad because it's just not true.
But what is he supposed to say, right?
Tell the truth.
No,
you're not going to say
that shows that you have no faith and confidence.
Yeah, you're not going to say that you're going to lose.
Like
you said, man, it'll be tough, and at the end I might be able to.
If you ask me right now, if you ask me right now, if I had to play Steph Curry 1-on-1 and I get ball first, I'm betting every single dollar in my account, and I get ball first. We go into 7, I would win. Why?
And you'll be broke.
Oh, that's fine. but that's fine. But as an athlete, you're supposed to have the utmost confidence in yourself that you're going to be the best.
Yeah, but there's certain things you don't got to say out loud.
Why not? I mean, he was asked these questions.
Why not? Because you sound foolish.
He was asked these questions, but also he gave props to that generation and said he wished he played. So he didn't just take a crap on the 90s. He
can't stay healthy in this generation. You think he would have lasted in that generation?
I mean, Wilt Chamberlain said a beautiful thing about Michael Jordan. If we want to talk about it, he said, and is he wrong? Because somebody let me know. They tried to stop Wilt, but when it came to Michael Jordan, they kind of made life easier for him. And we talk about these players not being able to last back then. I mean, what special thing did they do?
How many people was on Wilt's level athletically at that time?
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
But look at all these athletes now. Every single athlete right now, the only person that be on their level back then is Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins. So, the athletes in this
that far either, but
being
able to run and jump high like
in the 90s compared to now, other than Dominique, Michael Jordan, who else was on this type?
Scottie Pippen was athletic enough to play in this NBA?
No, I'm not saying athletic enough. I'm saying as the same caliber as these athletes now. You think?
I don't think they're the same caliber, but
it's only a handful. To be fair,
my point is
there's only a handful of guys with the
evolution,
athleticism of Dominique and Jordan in today's league. To be fair, like it's not a whole. It's not.
I think it's at least 10.
With Jordan's athleticism,
with Jordan and Dominique
jumping that high and that fast. Yes,
that's what I'm saying. Like how many guys are you saying? 10
at least.
I don't know about 10, and I'll include Zion in that, but I don't know.
Maybe 5 or 6. I would say I'm not sure about 10.
That's why the dunk contest sucks.
That's what
nobody wants. All the best dunkers don't enter.
I mean,
right,
for a
which
reason.
is true. But I'm just saying that in terms of if we're talking about in terms of athleticism, where guys is putting their head on the rim
John Morant is what, 6'2"?
6'2", 6'3".
Ja, Zion,
Ja's 6'3".
Jordan is 6'6" and long. What are we talking about?
Yeah, no, but I agree
Ja's
with
not
Chris though that
Ja
you're
not
not
going to
going to
score
say
a
that
point.
you're going to lose.
I didn't say he wouldn't score, but he better hope Mike don't get the ball first.
But what is Ja going to say? I'm going to get
no guy worth his salt is going to say that they're going to lose.
Exactly.
I'm not saying you say you're going to lose, but there's a respectful way to answer that question, and that was disrespectful.
He gave his respects.
Right.
Did you listen to the whole thing? He gave his respects to that whole thing.
I understand that, and no, I didn't listen to the whole thing, but that has nothing.
His exact words. I wish I played in this generation. I would have cooked them too. Nobody got more confidence than me. I'm never going to say nobody's going to beat me in a one-on-one. I'm never going to say nobody's
and I
going to beat
agree.
me in a
You can
one-on-one.
say I will never say that, but saying I'm gonna cook them is not the same. Those are two different statements, and that's where you get disrespectful.
But I think that's part of. But Ray, you know. That's and you're one of the guys you love throwing shots too now. Don't get it twisted.
I
think that's a generational thing to where, you know, and I know you're younger than John's younger than you. But I think that's part of the bravado of this new generation is
it's a joking shot. It's a joking shot.
They're not taking a step, they're not taking a back seat to nobody. Now
don't
get me wrong, I agree with you.
Problem.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I wouldn't have definitely,
anybody?
You know, he shouldn't have said it that way. But I understand what he was saying.
That's LeVar Ball all over again, just talking crazy.
I mean, LeVar Ball is a prophet. So I'm saying.
No,
in some things, not all.
Because Lonzo is not better than Steph Curry.
No, he's not. But what you supposed to say?
Ain't never gonna see the league.
You say, man, I put my son in the best position.
The only one he got right was
no, he got that spot on. He said LaMelo was gonna be the best.
He said Melo was gonna be the best.
I feel like that was obvious.
The other two, he was wrong.
And then that parade continued with Magic talking about his jersey gonna be in the rafters. So
you gotta. You gotta build hype. Like we talk about guys like
when you do
Porzingis
that,
and
when you do that, you put a target
on your back. Yes,
and they ain't won nothing to be talking like that. Quiet as a scalp. You just won most improved.
If you
win most valuable.
Some would say he should. Some would say he won it.
Desmond Bain.
Yeah, because he was in more of that MVP conversation. We talking about Ja. We talking about Ja. At the end of the day, I expect nothing less from Ja Morant. That's why he's most improved, because you're not supposed to say anybody could beat you. Not saying he would cook him. I mean, yeah, you could say that's outlandish, but to me, that just shows a guy that has the utmost confidence in his ability to be the best player that he can be.
Well, when so I gotta respect like that. I expect a certain level of play on the court.
And he's shown it.
No, he hasn't.
And then also,
his couple years he hasn't shown it.
You also put that. Also, this is the viral.
What has Bradley Beal won to show he's worth $50 million a year, right?
But that has nothing to do with Bradley.
I'm going back every time you talk about what has he done. I'm asking you about that.
He's done as much as Ja Morant, if not more. What are you talking about?
What's the more?
He led the league in scoring.
They've been to the same round.
Okay, Ja Morant has been better. And Bradley Beal isn't saying he's going to cook Jordan. I don't understand where this comparison comes from.
I'm just every time you say something, I'm going back to your boy Bradley.
Okay, I'll just ignore it because it's just lack of logic. Gotcha.
It is.
You're trolling. Gotcha.
I am.
I respected you too much. I gave you too much credit. I apologize. But speaking of Bradley Beal, since you spoke him up, we saw Dame Lillard $100 million over 2 years, or I forget what the exact number is, but just that was a ridiculous money.
122
over 2 years,
which is just absurd. But we talked about, like, if Bradley Beal turns it down, why would you, considering the options available to you? But do you guys believe this will become more of the trend where people would just take the money to stay where they're at, and the value on winning will continue to diminish? I'll start with you, Kenny.
Yeah, no, I don't. I definitely think that's the case, because you can take the money and then demand a trade. Like, it's nothing, you know. You can take the money and then force your way out of town. So we've seen it happen with James Harden. Now we're seeing it with Kevin Durant. Guys are not going to. They're not going to fumble their bag. Like, there's going to be no more Dennis Schroeder situations going on. Guys are going to get their money because they know that, push come to shove, if they do want to get out of town, that there's that there's a way for them to get traded. So they're gonna keep on getting these max contracts, and then if the situation doesn't work out, then they just demand a trade.
Okay, Chris.
I mean, me personally, I'm not going to say they don't care about or they're not focused on winning. I just think there's nothing wrong with staying with the team that drafted with you. Like, I think it all started, not to put the blame on anybody, right? When we first saw this major thing happen, it was LeBron. It was the Celtics victory, where you saw people come together and let's win the championship. But then it was LeBron. And then Kevin Durant is the one that took it overboard by joining us. But we're not even going to go into that. But the point I'm trying to make is I think people thought, or the notion was, you had to go and bounce around teams in order to be successful. But people don't, it's starting to get away with Allen Iverson that tried to work it out with his team, or Michael Jordan that tried to, stay there and he had success with his team, or Kobe Bryant, or Larry Bird, or Magic Johnson. Like, players that stayed with their team and they were able to be successful. It might not be as easy as going join an already established team in free agency, but it can happen. So I think people forgot that that's how a way you can win a championship, like what Steph Curry and the Warriors are doing. I think it kind of got, forgotten about because Kevin Durant joined. But when I look at what happened, this year, it shows you that you can stay on your team and have success. So I'm not mad at Dame or Bradley Beal for accepting that money. And I wouldn't be surprised if either of those guys just want to stay on their team and try to build around themselves. I look at what the Blazers did, and they're trying to build something around Dame. I think the Wizards are kind of in a rebuild mode, but they're not. I'm no disrespect, but they're not far off from being back in serious playoff contention. When you got a Bradley Beal, who I'm a huge fan of, and really good pieces around him, you go out and you get vets. You get a Monte Morris and things like that. You try to go do the right thing. So I'm not mad at these guys for getting their money, and I do think they care about winning, and they're going to show it this year, and they're going to try to have their teams be built around them. And real quick, Bradley Beal, I don't know how this happened, but he has a no trade clause. So shout out to him.
We take care of our own. Loyalty begets loyalty.
Yeah, me personally, I wanted to give him a no trade clause because you just better hope that if you trade him, you get the best thing that you want. But at the end of the day,
that's when the culture's bigger than
and I don't think he's going to ask for a trade at this point. The way it's looking, I don't think he's asking for a trade. I'm just saying, you giving him that much money. I mean, I think they could have got away with it with a no trade clause. That's a conversation for another day. But I'm not mad at them being loyal to each other because, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. We've seen that many times in the past. It's just recent things, and some teams win a championship showed you otherwise. So I'm not mad at him or the team for doing that, and I'm not mad at Dame for taking that money. I salute them. Never fumble your bag, and if you want to stay loyal because nothing wrong with it.
Kenny?
No, I already went.
Oh,
I was first.
All right, I'm with it.
I think it's because he agrees, and I shouted out his team for once. So I got love for the Wizards, man. Don't get it twisted.
I hear you. But we've got a little later, so we'll pause on the top 10 talks. That might take more time. Which actually does get me to. I did want to get to these last two as we starting the training camp is almost here. I've been loving the basketball in the summer league, but the king is coming. And by no stretch is football not king when it comes to sports. But we had a number of quarterbacks moving around this offseason, some real situations from of really three quarterbacks that are tied together in some ways when you got Baker, Tua, and Kyler. So when you look at the three of them right now, obviously Baker just getting traded, going to have to fight it out with Sam Darnold. Tyreek Hill is putting all the pressure in the world on Tua. He better come out throwing lasers the way Tyreek been talking.
God, this man sounds like Dan Marino.
And then you got Kyler Murray, who's still trying to get paid and been temperamental to say the least. Who would you say is under the most pressure going into next season? I'll start with you, Kenny.
I think Kyler. I think it's between Kyler and Tua. I think it's really close between those two. But I think it's Kyler that's under the most pressure because of the contract situation and the fact that they are out of those three teams, they're the team that that we expect the most out of coming into this season. I don't think that I think, Tyreek Hill has the highest expectations of anybody in the Dolphins. No one has the same expectations of the Dolphins that Tyreek Hill has, or nobody believes in the Dolphins the way that he does. So, I think it's Kyler Murray because they're a playoff team, and the way that they collapsed, the way he played in that playoff team in that playoff game last year, I think he's really he has a chip on his shoulder, and the fact that they weren't healthy as well going into that playoff, and we didn't get a full season of D Hop. I think the pressure is on them, and then also that division, man. That division is something serious. So I think he has the most pressure, and then right behind him is Tua. I don't think that there's any pressure on Baker. I think he's kind of playing with house money because I don't think that anybody expects Carolina to be anything. So if he wants to come in and taking that job, then I think that's going to look good for him. And then he'll come, he could kind of come in and be the savior if he comes in and winds up taking the job from Darnold at whatever point it is, and then they go on a run. Then he'll wind up just, coming up roses and proving the Skip Baylesses of the world, right? So I think it's in that order. You got Kyler, then Tua, then Baker.
Okay. Chris, I'll go to you before I respond.
I got the same mindset as Kenny. I think right now it's Kyler and Tua top two and Baker's third. I think with Baker, I look at his biggest challenge and it's just winning a starting job versus Sam Darnold. No disrespect to Sam Darnold, but they both been inconsistent. You can say Baker's probably had the better career thus far. And so if I'm him going into it, I wish no injuries on him. But if you could beat him out, in camp or something like that, or show that you're the better player, then at the end of the day, you can win that job. I look at Tua and what's going on over there in Miami. He has a lot of high expectations on him, but in my opinion, these expectations were going to be put on him regardless if they had Tyreek or not. I think, they were trying to get Deshaun at one point, but that's just showing that they're willing to move off of Tua if he does not show he's a, franchise QB. So I think he's going to have those expectations on him, and it just amplified more that you got a top 5, top 10 receiver on your team that's went to the Super Bowl multiple times, that has a Super Bowl ring, that's used to excellence. Then when I look at Kyler's situation, he wants to get paid, and that's probably the biggest expectation or the biggest thing when you're back out of everything. You want your money, and you look at Kyler, and you can say he's a top 10 quarterback, but what are you going to do for me in the playoffs? And yes, the team's been injured, he's been injured. I think right now that's just the biggest question mark is how they're going to perform in the playoffs. And so I want him to get his bag. I think he's deserving of his bag. I think he should get a franchise quarterback type of money because I think he is a franchise QB. So I think right now, if I had to pick out of him and Tua, I'm going with Kyler because I think this team has legit expectations. The Dolphins, I was a fan of them, but now I don't expect as much of them as I did, in the past. But right now with the Cardinals, I expect a lot.
Okay, so I'm a little different. We know from you guys in that I think Baker has a ton of pressure. And the reason I think he has a ton of pressure is I know Kenny kept giving best case scenario, but what happens if he doesn't beat Sam Darnold out for this job?
And you got a point. That's a very good point.
That's valid.
Like he's free after this year. So he would be going into free agency coming off not beating Sam Darnold, and the team will be pretty bad. So I think
his days as a starter would be over if that
he would be like Mitchell Trubisky. He's signing as a team with a young quarterback or something as a backup, trying to get another shot.
Yeah, and I don't know that would be the case with Kyler. I think what Kyler stood in his back pocket is as long as Kingsbury's there, Kyler will still be there. I think Kingsbury might go and Kyler might stay, but I don't see him going anywhere in particular. And he'll get a bit of a pass because Hopkins is going to miss 6 games because of the suspension. So I think that'll alleviate some pressure.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah, but they still got Marquise. I got faith they'll be able to put some points on the board. Stop. Marquise. I'm not comparing them to. I'm just saying like in the past, I really thought he had no weapons. Like he really had no weapons. But losing D Hop, you're losing D Hop, but you're still going to have Ertz,
and you lost
AJ Green.
Yeah, did they sign him back?
Nah, he got paid. He got paid.
No,
I'm talking about AJ Green.
Oh yeah, if I'm pretty sure he's still in the roster.
Okay, I can't remember.
So I mean, for that reason, I would agree. But at the same time, I think Miami would have already been trying to really move to it, and like in essence, cost Flores his job or started that whole disaster.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that is a team that when you look at that division, I think they've made the moves to be in position to win. And I believe they believe they're a quarterback away. And if you don't get it done with the weapons that they've given you this year, you ain't it.
True.
So I think him and Baker to me have the most pressure because I think if either of them or both of them fail this year, I think their whole career trajectory changes. And I think Kyler could bounce back from a bad year and he'd still be the starting quarterback on the majority of teams. I don't have him top 10, but I think people view him a lot more favorably than they view the other two.
Do you think if the Cardinals have a bad season, you think there's curtains for Kingsbury?
Yes.
Yeah, because I think he's in the last year of his deal. So I think they would just let him go. I don't know that they wouldn't have to fire him. I don't think they would re-up him. No.
Mm.
I think they would go try and find somebody else to work with that team. And I think it depends on how it looks. So if they start slow, then D-Hop comes back and they go on a run and just miss or go out in the first round, I think you might get some grace with that. But it'll be interesting. But no, I definitely got the other two the most pressure just because I think their futures are really up in the air. Last one, we're going to rank quarterbacks. I want to get it on the air now going into the season. And this will tell me a lot about you guys in football season because I don't know if I was really on here to talk a lot of football with y'all. So we got Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, Matt Stafford, and Josh Allen. And we're going to rank them, and I'll give you guys just a little bit of time. I'll walk us through this. And this is for this season, not for the foreseeable future, for this season. So for me, I got Brady 1.
Mm-hmm.
I got Stafford 2. I got Mahomes 3. I got Allen 4. And I got Rodgers 5. Chris, what you got?
All right. Jalen Hurts number 1. No, I'm just playing with y'all. I'm just playing with y'all, just trying to get a little humor. Yeah, I'm glad that you clarified we just going on this season. So this season I'm going Stafford 1, going Brady 2, Mahomes 3, Allen 4, and my guy Rodgers 5.
I did not think anyone else would have Rodgers 5th, so okay. I'll take
it's
that.
only because
I think because it's supporting cast.
You have not like years past. We said he had nothing, but he had a little something. Like he has nothing.
Yeah, but his division is so bad.
That's true.
It is, but you only play 8 division games.
Yeah. What about those other 8 games?
9.
Those other 9 games, and I see those other teams giving him bump. And now, without your star receiver, that's your safety net. Not saying that Aaron Rodgers is nothing without Devontae Adams, but it makes life a little easier if you got the number 1 as your number 1. So,
fair enough, Kenny.
Man, I'm struggling with this. I'm gonna go Stafford 1. I'm going Allen 2.
Whoa.
And I'm going Brady 3.
What?
Mahomes 4 and Rodgers 5.
Please tell me how you have Allen ahead of Brady for this year, based on what?
I just think that offense is going to be a little more dynamic this year. I think that Brady lost some pieces, like losing. Godwin's going to be out for half the year. He lost Gronk. Of course, no AB. And we know that that as much as good as Michael Evans is, he can tend to get banged up, and at some point, Father Time is going to catch up to Tom Brady. I know we've been saying that for years, but it's going to happen at some point. So I just think Stafford does have the in terms of the offensive weaponry. I think he has the best, and then I think right behind him is Josh Allen.
Ray, let me ask you this real quick. Do you think these are going to be the top 5 quarterbacks going into the year?
Yes.
Because I'd argue it's a guy in LA.
No.
No.
Oh, Herbert?
No. He hasn't shown me. I haven't seen it yet.
Like, I've seen though, he might have a bad. He got some toys to play with too,
and it ain't won nothing yet.
There's a guy in Denver. I mean, listen, not even that whole division. I would argue that everybody in that division has a chance to put up better numbers and have a better season than Aaron Rodgers. And I wouldn't be surprised. I don't even want to judge that division because the team you could pick for number 1 could be number 4. The team you could pick number 4 to be number 1. But don't be surprised if Mahomes has the worst quarterback season out of everybody in his division. That's how good.
Questions about his.
That's how good those teams.
That's why I put him down. I think he's probably the most talented out of all of them. Him and Josh Allen probably neck and neck in terms of are really close in terms of the most talent.
But now we're going to see how good of
his
quarterback he really is.
It's taking a major hit, so I'm not sure if he's going to be the same guy.
So it's going to show if he's a guy that makes people around him better, or was Tyreek Hill in that speed and those guys in that speed. What about Lamar? Listen, Lamar just never had any weapons. They don't care about his pass. They don't care about his passing numbers.
That's what I'm saying. And we still don't know. We still got questions about the weapons that he has around him.
They have none.
You let Hollywood. You trade Hollywood. So I just don't understand what
you have doing. Bateman and you have Andrews. In my opinion, they're trying to. Their case is going to be you don't do this in the past game, so you don't deserve this. Well, he never had any.
They're trying to keep his value down.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I hope that's not the case, but they never put any real value, any real valuable weapons around him. And so when you're going to look at, even though he led the league in touchdowns and stuff like that, people going to question his passing. But who's he passing to? Even if he's not the best passer, that means you should be giving more targets and more people to pass to. In my opinion, I think that's just common knowledge. But I'm not going to go into that. I think the quarterbacks this year, we're going to see a lot of people do some good things. But I just want to see whose good things is going to be a transition to who's going to win. Because there are some quarterbacks that put up stats and don't win. So I want to see if these quarterbacks are going to put up stats and rack up W's in that win-loss column.
Especially Justin Herbert. I don't hear I don't want to hear no more about the greatness of Justin Herbert if they don't make the playoffs.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that because he's shown it. But now it's you have the team on both sides of the field around you.
Both sides of the ball.
That defense is now legit.
Yes.
Let's see you do something. And I think, in my opinion, if my guy Derwin James stays healthy, they're in the playoffs. Derwin James stays healthy, they're in the playoffs.
It's a tough division.
It is.
Best division in football. And it's not close. Who has 4 teams that can go 1 through 4?
Probably the NFC West is probably the closest.
But they're the closest, and you have 3 teams. And really, it's 1 legit team and 2 teams.
Yeah, because Seattle is trash.
Seattle's question marks, and the Cardinals, 49ers are some question marks.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I was going to say the AFC North, but
Pittsburgh, no. Browns, no Deshaun Watson.
Right.
And and these are very good divisions, like that are like very good.
I was factoring in Deshaun, but you're right.
But this division is like last year's NFC West with Russell in there, but times 10.
What about the NFC South?
Nah.
No, I don't have
Carolina or in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's just really top heavy. Yeah, Tampa Bay.
Yeah. I mean, the best division of football will always be the NFC East. We don't win anything, but that's your best division of Sunday night football right there. We're not gonna win nothing, but that's the most must-see TV.
The most mediocre.
Yeah, the most.
Hey, y'all keep talking. That division might be all right.
Listen. I really we going outside of the Giants. Everybody's good.
Outside the Giants, there's some potential on.
Yeah,
on
all of our sakes, we hope so.
Fair enough. Well, I definitely appreciate y'all. We will continue to wait for DeAndre Ayton to get signed somewhere, or maybe he'll get traded. Maybe he won't.
Real quick about Chet Holmgren. Real quick about Chet. He had a decent performance, but I think you're going to see it. And I think he was frustrated at times because I watched the game the whole time. He's frustrated at the fact it looks like that he's so weak. No discredit to him, but he sees how that's a disadvantage. But outside of that, he's running the block shots. He's not scared to get in the paint and throw his body out there. So, in my opinion, once he gets that strong thing situated, he'd be all right.
He's gonna need to figure out a mid-range game or something because he's struggling to get to the basket because of the physicality.
No, it's definitely that. You're going to see him stretch the floor out a lot.
But
with that length, though, he should be able to get to his spot and raise up and knock down shots. So I think that mid-range is going to be key for him because he is going to get those open looks because between Josh Giddey and SGA, they're going to definitely get him open looks.
So we'll see. But
and
fellas, it's been a pleasure.
Looking at Richard Jefferson about the referee.
I can't believe I'm about to watch a summer league game just to watch somebody referee.
Maybe the first time ever. But y'all have a good one, and we will be back on Thursday at 9. Take care.
Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports.